With Liquor Barn, you can shop your favorite bourbon, that perfect bottle of wine, or discover something new. To place an order for pickup or delivery, download the Liquor Barn app, visit liquorbarn.com, or call your nearest Liquor Barn location. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our email list for all the latest news on products, promotions, and events. Liquor Barn, where Kentuckians go to celebrate life. Cheers!
Porch Kitchen and Bar serves as downtown Louisville's living room, connecting people over comfort food and a soulful experience. As a member of the Urban Bourbon Trail, their award-winning spirits collection is flowing from craft cocktails or creative flights in an impressive single-barrel collection. Swing on by, come for the food and drinks, and stay for the conversation.
Limestone Farms bourbons defy the typical that high proof means less depth and smoothness. Great crafting and blending of our rare and exotic mash bills are here to change the bourbon world. From the first sip, we invite you to discover bourbons that are deep in Kentucky tradition and richly one of a kind. Limestone Farms, dedicated to excellence.
Welcome to the Bourbon Life Podcast, your source for all things bourbon. Join your hosts, Mark and Matt, as they drink and review bourbons, share news about upcoming events, interview the who's who in the bourbon world, and, most importantly, bring you along for the fun of living the bourbon life. Now, here's your hosts, Mark and Matt.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me here live in the Bourbon Life Studios, it's the Bourbon Life Crew. It's my good friends, Philip.
Hey.
It's Matt.
Hey, what's up, Mark? You doing all right?
Yeah, man. I'm kind of like out of it right now, but it's all good. We'll get rolling now. I'll get back on track here.
Get back in it.
I'll get back in it. Stacy?
I'm in.
Yes. Awesome. That's what she said. He said. Chad, what's up, man?
I'm here to get you drunk, Mark.
Awesome. I need it. I could use it. Yeah, for sure.
I feel it.
That'll be good.
Amen to that, brother.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hell yeah, brother.
And we are around the flights of the round table,
We got
man.
Phillip
I know.
back tonight.
And Philip is back. Philip with the mood lighting, man. If everybody can see it, I don't know if people can see it on the video or not.
I am.
Good.
I got
Everybody's here.
Everybody's
The table
here.
is just a mess of bottles.
Full of bottles. Here, you know what?
I don't have to look at Stacey now.
I'll swing my camera around.
That's rude as hell.
What? Look.
It's only because I didn't have mood lighting last time.
Yeah.
If I had mood lighting,
Well, I feel bad because there's stuff behind Matt.
Oh, you didn't feel
and there's
bad
stuff
whenever
behind
I
you
was
guys,
sitting over there.
And there's stuff kind of behind me. but
He's
Phil's-
lying. There was contract negotiations. I needed a light.
PR. The PR firm was like,
reached out and said, "Hey, look,
That's why I missed the last
Glad we were
time.
able to
We
buy
need to-
Philip back in.
That's right.
Yeah.
Listen, that guy on the other side, we got to do something.
we got to do something. We got to liven that shit up over there, man. So.
And he's not wearing a fun shirt either.
I know.
What did they,
Is there
what
no
did
fun?
they
Is
do
there
to
no
you?
crazy
There might
t-shirt?
be a fun
Okay,
shirt.
there's
Yeah.
something.
Oh,
Something. Yeah.
I'm
What they
nervous.
do to you?
I'm
He might
nervous.
have some fun underwear on his fundies. You know?
The fundies. The UFOs got him, man.
That
You
is
know
true.
what
It was
happens.
Bigfoot, actually.
There's
It was
some
Bigfoot.
there's some probing going on there, folks. So anyhow, so how's everybody doing? You guys doing all right? Everybody?
I feel
Anybody?
like I've been probed by work.
Oh
Aside from
yeah,
that,
I know. Yeah,
that.
yeah, no, yeah. I'm sure you guys, everybody. Philip, you doing all right, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Whenever and wherever I'm at with you all, the degenerates, it's fun.
Yeah, it's a good time, right? No doubt about it. Of course, we're talking about the demise of the Bourbon Life Podcast tonight. So the crew. So
We've been talking about that for years.
everybody's like,
We're still here.
yeah.
We're hanging on by a thread,
Finger on the
guys.
pulse.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we appreciate
Yeah,
it.
was
I
actually-
appreciate you
I was
guys.
looking through our reviews recently. Every single one of them is a review on Big Chief.
Yeah, no, the whiskey trip. I know.
Everyone's just pushed us aside.
That's all right.
It's all
Big Chief, how much are you paying those people?
Yeah,
Big Tex
but you
review
know,
hour.
the big Tex. We call it Matt calls him Big Tex. I love that. It's so funny. But yeah, Mike's doing some good stuff, man. He's had some really good shows, so he's getting some great reviews. And they had fun time. They did that barrel pick with Barry Brenniger down in Texas, right? So they were there at the store.
Can you imagine? I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that experience.
Yeah, so they had like 25 people in there. I can't imagine that was.
God.
But they got to pick like
I feel bad for Barry.
2 or 3. Yeah, I'd say that was a lot of.
I'm sure he had a good time.
That was a lot of work. And look at you sporting your home bar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been wearing this hat for like a month now.
Our dudes.
I
yeah.
wear mine to the gym,
Got some.
Yeah, man.
and people ask me what it is. I'm like,
Mine's
yeah.
Yeah, like yeah.
Mine's been worn so much it's not
Is it?
camera
Well,
quality.
when I hear back from those guys, everybody's got to keep their ears and eyes open because they've got some big stuff coming up.
Do they really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The home bar IO
I
guys.
don't
right?
think it's out or public yet, but
Okay.
I met up with them.
It's kind of like you. It's not out yet.
At least not public.
But you just did. Way to go, asshole.
Thanks, Dad.
Look, I've been had my finger on a trigger for a long time on that one, Matt. You know,
For what, like 5 years now?
just time to let it go.
His is
Time to
coming,
let it
just
rip,
wait.
man.
His is coming.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm getting my punches in early tonight.
Quit you, Enos Delmar.
I know they're coming my way. All right, guys. So I don't know if we have anything. I forgot to start my timer too, didn't I? Daggone it. Anyway.
We are the Bourbon Life Podcast.
Yeah, presented by Liquor Barn. Thank you, Matt, for getting it back on
Thanks,
track.
Liquor
I
Barn.
appreciate that. We appreciate Liquor Barn. We appreciate all of our sponsors.
We hope
Everything
you're
that
not listening to this one, but
No, we're having a good time. People, and we get the most feedback on these shows. Well, except for the micro episode, we got quite a bit of feedback on that, which was really cool. But people love these shows. I mean, it's like, it's fun. People just comment and tell us how much they enjoy us just sitting around kind of just bantering. Not that we're really talking about anything, because we don't have really anything. We have a few things we're going to talk about, I guess, tonight. But
Don't belittle our conversations.
I'm not
the
belittling it.
UFOs and the
These are
Bigfoot.
important.
Bigfoot.
Those are very important.
These are the
Is it
topics that
Bigfoot or
people
big
really
feet?
want to know about.
if you're talking plural, would we be
Bigfoot. 'Cause they're just
Bigfoots.
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
Bigfoots
Yeah,
and
it's like deer. They're just deer. It doesn't matter how many there is.
Bigfoots is there's Bigfoots is anyway. So Philip, you brought something we're going to drink on the first round, right?
did.
But we're not going to talk about it because
Go ahead and show us your mystery bottle
You got it
in
from the
our
guy in the corner.
mysterious
Like
bag.
it.
okay, all right, yeah.
So this is one I don't believe it's ever been on the podcast.
Uh
never mind.
I don't
guess
think.
cross that off.
Oh,
there
Matt's
goes the
taking
Hooters
notes.
whiskey.
Yeah, it's not definitely not Hooters whiskey.
That was from.
No, I have notes from Mike Rowe's episode.
Oh, okay. I was like, where the hell did this come from?
He left them, so Matt always takes his notes home. He's probably got this whole collection of podcast notes from.
He's actually starting a scrapbook.
And he's also planning
So
a
when he
lawsuit.
leaves, he's got
He puts like little hearts.
For the
cuts out
person
little
who fills my
stickers.
seat. This is what you have to report.
Actually, onboarding instructions
yeah.
for my replacement.
Speaking of
W9.
the Bourbon Life podcast falling apart, right? Just as things look up, we got almost all of our sponsorships filled. Now we're gonna all start
That's
just
great.
falling apart. So
I like the nose on this.
Yeah.
Get back to the whiskey.
yeah, get
here.
back, Matt. What are you picking up since you're already on that?
It's nice vanillas, nougaty. Got a cherry with it too. It's just it has like kind of this like chewy, sticky aroma, kind of like taffy, marshmallow on the nose.
There's a little bit of mint coming through on it too, like a little buttermint.
Yeah, I get
on
a
that.
ton of butter.
Yeah,
Ton of buttermilk. Okay. What else, Stace? Since you jumped in,
Sorry.
no. Whoa, that's what the show's about.
No, I agree. It does have like the, I don't know, sticky. Why that
It smells
comes to me. I
sticky.
don't know. It's got like
Not even
toffee-ish
gonna go
vibes to
there.
it.
I'm just not.
I'm
go ahead,
ignoring
keep
you,
going. Just
ass.
keep-
Anyway, back to the whiskey.
Yes,
it's
just keep
I'm
going.
getting straight buttermint.
all right, Chad.
I'm getting a lot of the buttermint. I do feel like with Matt and Stacy combined, with buttermint, you do get the vanilla, marshmallow, because like buttermint has that like sweet, creamy
Yeah.
notes, those sticky notes. There's a little bit of pungency to it for me. It does kind of have like you opened up 92% alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, like a punch. What proof you say this was?
I double checked. It's 103.
103. I don't know. Curious. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
What about you, Phil? I mean, I know you brought it.
Yeah, I mean, I second everything they said. I do get a lot of caramel in the nose.
Is anyone else getting corn?
I just
Yeah.
get grain. I get a
Yeah.
lot of grain off
I get
of it.
some grain.
I mean,
Yeah.
Corn mash, corn meal.
corn. That's why I was just going to say it may be young, or I'm thinking
it does smell a little
that it's probably young, just because I feel like I'm getting a lot of grain. Because you guys are talking about, and when you say buttercream and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I can see that. But the big thing predominantly that jumps out to me is just that initial aroma of the corn, sweet corn that jumps out. Like, you're getting ready to have a family Sunday dinner, and there's a big kettle of sweet corn that's cooking. So,
All it reminds me of is walking through Tractor Supply.
oh, there you go. Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
Okie dokie.
That sweet.
So topic wise, we were talking about something off camera that I thought would be fun to talk about, and hopefully we'll get to talk about more when we have the people that are involved with this on the show. Hopefully here in a couple of months. But a new distillery popped up in Kentucky recently, right? Garrard County Distilling. You guys familiar with that? Or people are calling it Garrard County Distilling Company, right? But I think it's also going by Staghorn. Is that?
Yeah, I think that's the parent company who's.
Oh,
funding it.
okay. I gotcha. Yeah. So I'm talking with some of their PR people, and I think we're supposed to have I guess it's the guy that kind of started, that owns it, I guess, or put it together or whatever. But big news came out recently, just a couple of days ago, right? That Lisa Wicker is going to be their master distiller.
That's
right?
pretty exciting.
Yeah, I was thrilled about that.
I think the craziest thing about all of this is it's not just an announcement of a distillery being built. Like, it's up. It's there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, is it really? It's already, like,
It's already done. It's like they started construction like in 2020 or 2021 or something.
Really?
Yeah, this was like
It's like under the radar, like a $200 some $million or something.
It's 200 like $200
$50 million.
Yeah, it's like $234, $244 million. The most expensive privately built craft distillery to date.
Yeah,
And nobody knew about it.
No one knew about
Well,
it.
and that's
insane.
what I was going to say too. Like, and Garrard County's like not that big. So how many people are they employing here? And they've still
Probably
been
the
able
whole
to
county.
keep that
There's
quiet.
18
like,
people there and they
really?
have 17
but
employees.
it was a dry county up until like November.
Oh, was it? Oh, see, I didn't know that.
So maybe that's
Very
why they
recently.
kind of
So,
Kept it on the DL until they could.
because they were building everything. And
Until trying to get it
all
done.
right,
door
here's the
work.
deal. We're gonna put in this huge distillery, bring a bunch of money to the county, bring a bunch of jobs to the county. But
Yeah.
when we're ready to roll, you got to roll back.
No, someone's like, I want to put a distillery there. It's cheap land, and then they find out like, oh, they can't sell liquor.
Well, it's like Jack Daniels, right? I mean, Jack Daniels couldn't
Oh,
sell
they were in Dry
alcohol
County up until
forever.
Yeah.
Couldn't sell it. So, which is kind of
wild
crazy,
to me.
right? That Jack
Wild.
Daniels could not sell alcohol
yeah.
at their distillery for years. But yeah, Lisa's a great person. We had her on the show before. We haven't had her in a while. I was hoping, because she was at Widow Jane, and I thought she did a great job up there with stuff.
Yeah, love her work there.
And then she left there. Of course, she lived in Bardstown, which is the craziest thing.
You should travel back and forth.
She traveled back and forth to New York to work for Widow
What,
Jane.
like every other week?
No, it was every week.
Oh my god!
She told us when she did the show, remember? Because we were supposed to record with her, and she's like, "Hey, can we do this? I'm headed back to Bardstown," and she stopped at a hotel on a Thursday night on the way back and spent the night and did the show from a hotel room on the way back to Bardstown. She's like, "Yeah, I drive back every Thursday night and then come back on Sundays."
Bro, that's like 11 hours, dude.
Every week she was doing that.
That's
Still
some
had her house in
dedication.
Bardstown, but then she left there. She left Widow Jane and gone with Town Branch, which I thought, oh, this is going to be great.
I had such high hopes.
I know.
I did too.
I really
just,
wanted that.
not just for her, but for the distillery. And it's nothing against Town Branch. It's just I think there was a lot of room for improvement.
Absolutely.
With
And,
their
well, I mean,
whiskey.
I feel like because she was in charge, like she was put in charge of all of it. Like,
Yeah.
Like Lex Brewing.
The brewing
they
and the-
renamed
yeah.
everything. She was going to be in charge of the Irish whiskey, American whiskey, and the brewing. And I'm like, man, because I love her work. Everything she's touched, I thought's been great. And
Yeah.
I was like, and I like Town Branch, and I like their beer. Not huge on the Irish, but I was like, this could be great. And then it was a short-lived relationship between them, and whatever happened. But I'm glad to see that she is somewhere new and somewhere that seems like it's got a good backing. Like I've not had a lot of All Nations products, which is going to be one of their key components and key brands that they distill and produce there. But I mean, to be one of the largest privately held built distilleries says something. Like there is some serious backing and potential.
Oh, yeah.
So like that's
Yeah.
Which
That's
is
huge.
Which is crazy. That's what she said.
Are they going to
So-
do any contract distilling, or is it just for their product?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything. Do you guys know? Are they contract distilling or is it just their own juice? Or is it-
so right now, she is working with that's huge comment still in my head. She's working with all of their source liquid they have from All Nations on all their blends. They will be distilling their own stuff and contract distilling. So it will be a, kind of like a Wilderness Trail.
Yeah. Okay.
New Riff
Which
kinda
makes
thing.
sense.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're that size, you're obviously not going to have
Right.
enough to do your own stuff. You got capacity to do stuff for other
Right.
people.
And I mean, it just helps bring it funds, because there's always people always want to buy barrels. They want to buy whiskey. So, and people can come in and contract build their brands from there. But yeah, I
Right.
mean, that's,
I don't think their brands are large enough to
not to handle
support the
the
capacity that
No.
they have to be sourcing.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of the business model, from what I understand.
So that's a huge. So think about that. So there's them. You got Dave Mandel and John Hargrove doing the Whiskey House in E-Town. You got Western Kentucky Distilling, right? They're going to be contract distilling stuff. I guess is Green River. Are they contract distilling for people still?
right now it's pretty much just sourcing. So you can pretty much just go there and get 70-21-9,
Okay,
and that's it.
and then who else? There's somebody.
There's the Pennyroyal Distillery. They're only contract distilling.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
them.
that Is that the one where the guy from Willett went?
Yeah, I think there's a guy from Willett and somebody from Jim Beam that went down there.
Yeah,
and then the guys, and then what's his face from Peerless? They're getting ready to start the one over in Moorhead too, right? And that's
right outside Moorhead.
Yeah.
that's going to be contract distilling too, right?
Yeah, and that.
So, is there going to be enough? I mean, that kind of begs the question now, right? You've got a lot of contract distillers out there now that are going to have pretty significant capacities. I mean, is there enough need, demand,
come out
juice?
of anywhere? Let it come out of Kentucky.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Sure.
Rather than like big distilleries. Not that there would be anything wrong with a big contract distillery popping up in
Michigan,
Yeah.
Flint water. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Hey man,
Right, baby.
That's the way God intended it to be.
hey man, Michigan State had the very first distilling program in the U.S. So
They did. I will give them credit for that.
Yeah.
But it could be also a good thing because it could help bring prices down for the smaller.
well, which we've talked
contract
about
brands.
before. You know,
Well, I was
what's
going to
the-
say, if you remember the last episode, that's where I was saying, like, I think we will see the resurgence of the $15, $20 bottle. And
Right,
these
yeah.
brand, I mean, because they will be at capacity. Right now, the biggest thing that people worry about is, I was talking to Matt about this yesterday, is like barrel prices.
Oh yeah, when you guys were hanging out, that's right.
right.
Yeah,
You
forgot
know,
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we've hung out without Matt before.
They were living the bourbon life without you.
Yeah, the whole time we're like, this is what Mark would want to do.
Yeah, let's do it. We danced around.
So much cooler without Mark, Dad. There's no old guy here to have to go to the bathroom
That's
all
right.
the
He
time.
doesn't stop to go
You guys
potty.
didn't have
And,
to push him around in his walker.
and the Walker.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
But
Get his gatekeeper belt.
But I think the market needs a correction.
Yeah.
So to speak, and I think this is going to help bring back all levels of affordability, everyone, like Matt always says, rising tides raise all ships, and the market needs something to kind of like lift every level. We can't. Everything can't be ultra premium, can't be super premium or ultra super premium
Sure,
or whatever
right.
it is, and everything can't be affordable.
So what you're saying is 50 is going to be the new 50 again.
I think
That
so.
would be
I
nice.
Wouldn't it be nice?
You know,
That'd be
I mean,
very
it might
nice.
be
I would love that.
it might be 3 to 5 years, but I do
Yeah.
I do think there will be a time where because everyone keeps like, oh, there's gonna be a glut, there's not a glut. Like, people will buy the shit and they will drink the shit. Like, that's
Yeah.
even these big distilleries like Jim Beam and Barton, all these people who put stuff out in the open market. It's not really because they can't sustain selling it for themselves. It's just they produced at one point in time stuff they didn't find viable for their profile and they sold it. But these brands who are only producing to do that will find a market. It's the liquor industry. There's two things that never fall during any type of economic depression: liquor and death. There's always going to be people who die and people who drink. That's
Crazy
two
how
things you
that
can count on.
crazy how that works out. It is.
yeah.
Ketchup.
So,
And hospital visits.
yeah.
Ketchup.
So,
In
ketchup.
times of recession, invest in ketchup.
There you go.
I invested
People
in
start
weed
eating at
stocks and
home.
they didn't do so hot. So,
I thought everybody's going to get stoned. Heinz. Yeah. There you go, man.
There you go. Stock tips with Matt.
There you go.
If you want.
We are not
I'm dead
FDIC insured, nor do we give any financial advice on this podcast. As an attorney, I have to
If I'm wrong, take it up
with a
with
name
Mark,
like
everybody.
Schmuckers.
yeah.
Backs it.
The name like Ruckers. Hey, but yeah, getting back to Lisa.
It must be delicious.
I had talked to her a few times since she left Town Branch, and I never went into detail with her. She never really went into it much. I could just tell it didn't seem like it was. It wasn't what she anticipated. Obviously, I don't think she expected to be there for just 4 or 5 months or whatever it was. But I know a couple months ago I saw her and she said, "Yeah, there's some things happening," but she wasn't specific about it. So I knew some things were going on, but had no clue that it was this. So I was just
Happy
super
for her. I think that
Oh,
was great.
thrilled with it. Because she used to work at Limestone Ranch, right? Did she work with Steve Beam down there? Was that where? Am I making that up?
I think so. And I mean, she also used to work at Starlight.
Okay,
Way back.
way back,
Way back when they first started.
So she's got a
distilling.
ton of experience. She's probably one of the
yeah.
biggest, one of the best master distiller people that nobody
You don't know.
Nobody knows that much about,
Yeah.
right? At all. So I hope this is an opportunity for her really to shine what she's doing, what she's able to do. So I'm really, really excited for her.
Yeah, her blending work at Widow Jane.
Widow Jane, yeah.
Is one of my that's like the way that she would do things and like proofing into the barrel and that kind of stuff. That's one of those things where it's like no one does that. And she took the approach she took because the way they did at Starlight with the brandy and stuff and like just her background and learning. People don't talk about that enough. People just look at like names and the distilleries, not so much the work that people have put out.
Right.
So, I mean, she's been able to take whiskey that people would pass on and turn it into these amazing, wonderful products. And I don't know. I'm very excited for like the whiskey that's going to come out of there, because I think I heard or read a press release or something that's seen like they've been distilling since 2022. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like
I don't know how long.
A year or two under their belt.
Actually, I do not know.
So
But hopefully we'll find out in a month or two when they're hopefully get them on the show. Right?
Yeah.
I'd love to add Lisa to that. I don't know for sure. We'll check and see if we can do that. So, guys, we should probably jump back to the whiskey. Anybody want to talk about the palate finish, Matt? You know how it goes.
I guess I do. It's really dry, like really dry up front, kind of unnecessarily spicy, dry. Drinks a little young. To me, it has kind of like this apple juice type flavor, like a drying
that was
apple
my note, but
juice.
Was it?
yeah,
That's what I would say if I was lying.
A little bit sweet, a little
Never had a
young.
woman.
I'm gonna go ahead and say for me, this one maybe not as much.
Yeah. I got
Not
you.
that there's anything wrong with it. It's very drying, and I'm not quite picking up a lot of apple juice. I'm not really a fan of apple juice.
Oh, gotcha. Like watermelon. Is it watermelon? Cantaloupe. Which one is it?
Oh, I hate
Both.
cantaloupe.
Both. Okay. Yeah.
Melon.
Melon in general. What about you, Philip? What do you?
I'm gonna say it's got some nice legs on it. These hips don't lie.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
No, this is actually one that I pick up quite often. And I mean, I'm a fan of it. Yeah, it is. Drinks a little younger, but I think for an everyday, a very affordable pour,
Gotcha.
it's good.
All right, you two whispers over there. What do you guys?
I'll go ahead and say it, Chad, because you're wrong.
Fountain finish.
I'm sure I am wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong because
still.
Yeah.
you know that is something that people who are okay with themselves, unlike you, Philip, are willing to admit.
Oh, wow.
I do. Apple juice was my first note. It's very clean, bright. There's a lot of like high tone, like citrus oils, not like like a certain flavor. It's a little dry. I don't know if I don't think it's spicy. It does. There's just a punch for what'd you say it was 103 proof.
Mm-hmm.
There's a punch of alcohol to this that's very drying. And like I said, I smell isopropyl. It tastes how isopropyl alcohol smells to a little bit. Not my favorite, but the apple juice thing was the only thing that was really kind of reeling me in. So it's funny that Matt didn't like it.
Now, I will caveat this. This is the first bottle I've had of it in probably 6 months, and the profile has changed a little bit.
Yes. Okay. Stace, what about you?
I will agree with everyone. It is drying. I'm not getting the apple juice notes, but I was getting like a lot of like green apple.
Okay.
It does taste young, and the finish on it was a lot different than what I was expecting based off of the nose. I got a lot more of that like peppery finish hanging out on the front of my palate there, but
Yeah.
does drink a little young for me.
It's-
I
yeah.
don't hate it.
Some country smooth.
No.
It drinks young. It's dry. It's extremely drying to me, which I'm just not.
Do you think it's drying because of oak or drying because like alcohol? Like I just get
I don't know which one it is, man.
I think it's more the alcohol.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say oak.
No,
Yeah,
not
is it-
much
Because it's like
influence.
front palate drying for me. A lot of times I find oak to be kind of back
Back palate.
palate,
yeah,
like
that makes sense.
near.
Well, 'cause that's why I asked, because Mark's like sensitive to a ton of oak. That's why I was like, that's.
But I keep wanting to drink water every time I take a sip of this. I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to drink a water to go
Interesting that he
to
finds
go with
it
it.
dry,
So,
Philip.
but yeah,
It's
I
kind of
would.
dry, like that dry socket you got.
Yeah, which is still anyway. We won't even go there. But I'm drinking, so
Oh, we're going there.
no, I'm happy to
How'd
go.
you get that dry socket?
I have no idea. So anyway, guys. Oh man. Anyway, so you want to tell us what it is, or anybody
do
want to
you all
guess?
have an idea? Yeah.
I have no.
I know, so I can't say
Yeah.
anything.
So at first, just on the nose,
Ancient age.
I thought it was
No, Ancient Age is better.
Evan Williams. It smelled before you said the proof. To me, I thought it nosed kind of like Evan Williams bottled and bond.
Oh, don't do that.
No, everyone's bottle and bond is
No, how
good.
dare
No,
you,
on the
Matthew?
nose.
How
If this
dare
isn't
you.
it,
No,
is it?
no, it's not.
I was like, there's no
Bottle-
way.
No,
because
it's,
what I was-
103, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's 103.
Math is hard, okay?
I forgot he said it's 103. So yeah, I have no guess. I really don't.
Chad, what about you, the whiskey master over here? The real bourbon master.
not-
Yeah, the real master of bourbon, right?
Blanton's Gold. I don't know.
No, I didn't
Stacey?
say like.
Oh, you know what it
already
is.
know what it is.
Turkey.
So I got this for Mark since he's
Oh, that
he
makes
got
perfect
that he got
sense.
that dry socket fighting cock. So
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Thanks, Philip.
Oh, my God.
Appreciate that.
but
Me and my dry
the profile
socket.
has changed a bit.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so it's no longer. Flip it over. It used to have a 3-year age statement on the back. Like they dropped the 6 and then it gained to 3. I'm pretty sure it had a
Aged 36 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember drinking this stuff when it had the 6 to 8 year, and it was 100. It was more than 103 proof, I think, at the time, maybe. But this would have been like,
yeah.
You've been fighting cock for that long?
How old am I?
Yeah, I told you.
Hey.
Not a day goes by.
Did I tell you earlier?
When you look as good as I do,
I told you.
You're fighting cock all day long.
We finally pulled the trigger on this one. There we have it. Philip, that was interesting. Yeah. I'm going to say I'm not a big fan of it, but I mean, obviously price
Is it
wise.
the dry
Yeah,
socket
what I heard.
talking, or
Let's see what I paid.
oh,
What'd you
got
pay?
it at
Too
the K
much.
Roger.
Yes, it was $18.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can find a better way to spend $18.
Would you use it as a mixer at all? I mean, would anybody, Matt? Would you?
Oh yeah, I would definitely use it as a
Yeah.
I'd throw that in some ginger ale.
Yeah. I was going to say I could make a highball with it easily, and it's a cheap pour, so that'd be worth it for sure.
Now I do miss it. It used to be $10, and it did taste better.
And it tasted better.
Still
Yeah.
for $18, man.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Now, for $18, I'd rather have a handle of Ancient Age.
Yeah, same.
That's right. When you said
yeah.
Ancient Age, I was like, no, Ancient Age is better. 90 proof Ancient Age is.
I don't drink it,
bottled
but
bond.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's really gone. I hate to say it because I love Heaven Hill, but that's really gone downhill bad. That's nowhere near what I remember.
what it used to be.
Yeah.
Nowhere
fight
near what
cock
Fighting
like
Cock
you
used to be like.
guys.
There's a chat.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're at the end of round one. We're going to take a break before it gets any worse. Everybody just sit tight. And please stay. Don't leave. But we'll be back.
That's what she said.
We'll be back with more with the Bourbon Life Podcast, the Bourbon Life Crew in just a minute. From our good friends at the Stave comes Lexington's newest hot spot to meet up with friends, have fun, and eat some great food. District 7 Social is a social and beer hall, but it's a lot more than that. Located in Lexington's Distillery District, it's the home of Lexington's first duck pin bowling lanes, and it also features a self-serve beer wall. That's right, self-serve. And if you want more, they've got it. You can try one of their delicious cocktails from the bar or order some great German fusion food from their on-site eatery, Germanish. So what are you waiting for? Be seen, be social. District 7 Social.
The Stave Restaurant is a bourbon lover's paradise right here in the heart of bourbon country. Located at 5711 McCracken Pike in Millville, Kentucky, between Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve, Chef Kyle Klatka prepares amazing food each day that features an elevated Kentucky-inspired cuisine. With a full-service bar, great bourbon flights, and signature cocktails, the Stave is the perfect place to catch up with friends after a fun-filled day of touring the local distilleries. Be sure to check them out online at thestavekentucky.com or at Instagram and Facebook at The Stave Kentucky.
All right, everybody, welcome back for round 2 of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me here live tonight at the Bourbon Life Studios, it's the Bourbon Life Crew. It's my good friends, Philip.
What's up?
What's up, Shakira?
Y'all didn't catch my first two references.
Oh, God.
No, I heard the hips don't lie.
Yeah.
Oh
I thought you were talking about the glass, like talking about the glass having hips.
I thought it was like a Shakira. I thought we were drinking like cachaça or something. Shakira endorsed.
That is freaking
wow.
awesome, Philip.
Yeah,
Matt's
nice. Matt, how you doing, man?
I'm great, Mark. How are you?
I'm here. No, I'm doing good. Stacey, what about you?
I'm doing good
Stacey,
now.
has anybody told you how nice your hair looks, by the way?
Thank you. Fresh cut.
You're very welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah. And Chad, you as well. Your hair, your beard's all trimmed up,
Yeah,
man, and the hair's
I cut
cut.
my own
and
hair and I cut my own beard, and
Look
I'm
at
wearing
you. Oh, no.
a dark art shirt.
Yeah.
I thought for some reason I had a zipper. I was about to like zip it, but no.
No, it's a button. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Don't
but,
rip your buttons.
dark
Yeah.
arts.
Dark arts. Yeah. You doing all right?
I'm doing all right. Do better than you,
He
apparently.
doesn't have dry
I'm
sockets.
whatever.
Yeah, it's
I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm on day 13. Oh, wait.
You know,
my
they-
shirt just says.
Hey guys, he's not wearing the gray
I know.
That's
zip
right,
up.
the gray pullover.
Oh my
It says
god.
let's
go bourbon.
Let's go bourbon.
I still got my shirt.
Yeah.
I don't
Anyway.
have
I
one.
wear it once a week.
All right, guys. So this round, I brought something, didn't I?
You did.
You sure
Yeah, I had
did,
a
Mark.
few-
Why don't you talk to us about what
Had
you
a-
brought for
had a
us
few
today?
bottles.
Yeah, please.
I really don't know a whole lot about this, to be honest. But is it 10-year-old? Because it says it on the label. 10-year-old. It's from Old Forester. It is their new 1924 part of the whiskey. Is this part of the Whiskey Row?
Yeah, Whiskey Row.
It has to be because it has the number, right? But they used to all have the thing across it that said Whiskey Row Series. And I
I'll
don't.
tell you what.
Damn it, Bobby.
Oh, it's on the back now. Okay. I was like, yeah, Whiskey Row Series. All right, 1924. So this is the newest addition to the, what is it, 1897.
1897.
1910, 1920, and there's another one in there.
Statesman.
No, there's
No.
another date.
Oh,
1776. No, just kidding. I can't remember what. There's a fourth one. I can't remember the
right. There is a four.
the year on
You got
that.
you got the original batch.
1897.
No, that's bottle and bond. You got the original batch, which is just like a 90 proofer.
I don't remember the number.
I think it's 1876.
Is it?
I think
1876, 1897.
Mark, you were like
1910,
a freshman
1920.
in high school. You don't remember?
Oh, wow.
No.
Anywho, thanks, Philip. Yeah. 100 proofer, 10 years old. So I'm excited. I haven't tried this one. Just cracked it open tonight. Yeah, I've not had
I'm
it.
excited.
You just said crack it open. It's yours. I haven't tried it. So you tried it, obviously.
I've had. Well, I mean,
You've had it.
You're the.
No,
I figured you're the bourbon life. I figured you've had like 10 bottles of it.
I've had some issues lately, and I've not been drinking as much. So anyway, I have not had this, not smelled it, not seen it, other than the bottle I've had that's unopened. So here we go with it. So Matt, throwing it to you. No, Philip, going to you. What do you
fuck
get?
Matt.
What do you pick up? Yeah. Forget Matt.
I think it's got a very decadent nose. After it airs out, which for me, always with an Old Forester, I have to pour it and let it sit.
Let it sit for a bit.
But I get like a lot of chocolatey caramel, almost like a dessert, like a I don't know, like a caramely chocolate cake.
Gotcha. Matt, what about you, man?
Yeah, I like that chocolate note, Philip. It's got a really mature nose, especially contrasting to the first round. But I think just in general, this really has, you can tell it's an aged spirit. Has a lot of those darker notes. I'm picking up the chocolate. There's some strawberry, like some fruit on it as well. Also some like mature, like mocha and oak notes come across. Maybe like a light pipe tobacco. But really, really lovely nose. Just
Stacy, what about you?
complex.
I'm also getting a tobacco nose on it. Not to get too deep into past stuff, but like there was this guy that used to come into my uncle's auto shop that smoked like a cherry pipe tobacco. Fuck off, Chad.
I heard enough. That's it.
Fuck off. Anyway, he had cherry pipe tobacco that he would smoke, and it reminded me a lot of that. Also getting the chocolate nose heavy on this as well. It smells awesome. I really like it.
Chad?
So
That's enough.
Love this profile. To me, it smells dusty. It's funny, Matt said strawberry because this is actually the early times mash bill, so it's not the standard Old Forester mash bill or Woodford Reserve or whatever. It is the early times mash bill and yeast strain. So I get a lot of red fruit like raspberry on this profile, a lot of oak, tobacco, dusty brown sugar, dusty caramel. To me, it literally smells like I'm sniffing something from the 60s, the 70s. It's got a little bit of that funk to it. Yeah. It almost seems like it's got some oxidation already there. To me, this is almost like the perfect nose for what I want in a bourbon. It's buttercream. It's like, or not buttercream. I say it's gonna sound weird. Cream cheese frosting. Like on a dusty, it's cream cheese because it's like a slight sour vanilla, but I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Kind of got like a almost like a chocolate covered strawberry aroma.
100%.
To me, like you open up this nice box of crispy, chocolatey strawberries that are nice cold. I get almost like a hint of leather as well. Talking about kind of a dusty, older, and that usually comes through to me when I think of an older whiskey. I get a leather note for some reason. But yeah, it was funny because I'm glad you said that because I'm trying to pick out notes that I've seen from Old Forester, and I'm like, I'm not getting anything reminiscent of Old Forester, so
it's not.
Because it's not. Okay, I see.
It does smell like if you poured this for me blind, I would think that this is a dusty
bourbon. Yeah,
I think it has some of the backbone of the 1920.
Okay,
like the desserty notes of the 1920.
Yeah, like where the 1920 like leaves off in complexity is, I think, where this picks up, sort of as far as like going that mature and age, that kind of that new age dusty aroma that we're kind of settling on. I think. I certainly, like blind, I wouldn't pinpoint it, but thinking about it now, because we've had the 1920 recently, I can see a little bit of
I got this at Liquor Barn, so thank you, Liquor Barn, for that.
What was retail on that? You remember?
I want to say it was like 120 something. Does that sound right?
Worth it.
124 maybe, 125, something like that. For 10-year-old bourbon, it's like, when you think Eagle Rare's $30, or used to be, but I know it's like...
Just to cut into that.
Two different animals.
Yeah, it is. So like Eagle Rare is like a standard product, So like it's a standard everyday, mass production product.
Right.
Whether we see it in mass production or not. This was mass produced. It was a huge run that they did. But I feel like people don't like going into this. It's not your standard Old Forester. It's not 10-year-old Woodford. It's not 10-year-old Old Forester. It is 10-year-old early times mash bill with that yeast strain. It's a 10-year-old King of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Proofed at 100 proof. So
makes sense.
that's what King Kentucky is. It's the early times of mash bill.
Yeah.
So for like how special that is and how limited, I feel like it warrants $100 to $150 price point. And I bought one, completely happy with that. So
Yeah. Well, I'm happy with it. Yeah, so far. So very nice. Can't wait to get to the palate and the finish on this one. So guys, let's talk about some stuff. What do you want to talk about now? Something
of palate.
Yeah.
Hey, nice segue.
you brought up a good topic.
Matt is on his segue today. Thank you, Matt, for
I'll roll right along with that.
bringing that in
Hey.
here. Yeah, man, that's awesome. What is it, Paul Blart? Yeah. Thank you very much, Mall Cop. So I was talking to a master blender recently, and they said that palatized barrels do not taste as good and do not create as good of a blend as barrels that have been stored, on their side in a rick house, like you normally would see in a rick house. The
So
barrels.
just for everyone who may not know,
Yeah.
give us, Mark, palatized.
Well, you brought it up. You tell them.
Rick. So a palatized.
You're the one that works in the bourbon industry now, apparently, Matt. So you tell us what it's all
Work
about.
for city government.
But you worked
Not
yesterday
based on that
with
video I saw
with
yesterday.
with a guy
Yeah.
that's in the industry.
Everybody Mark's butt hurt because he didn't get to play with his friends.
Yeah.
Did you get to go? I didn't
No.
either.
Yeah, I
Are we
got invited.
complaining about it?
No,
That's right. We
I'm
just
not
suck it up and
complaining.
deal with it.
Maybe a little. No, go ahead, Matt. Tell us what palatized means.
So palatized whiskey would be whiskey or barrels that are stored in an upright position. So barrel heads would be north and south with staves running north and south as well. So
Yeah.
you cannot, if you can think of a barrel standing tall,
That means up and down.
yes,
North south.
Oh, thanks.
That's what it means.
that would be palatized whiskey.
Usually 4 to a pallet, right? So
Yes, usually
and you can
a pallet, so easy to stack.
you can
without-
forklift them.
Yes.
Move them around. Right.
Forklift, you don't need anything special to
Right.
stack them necessarily.
Forklift certified.
Yeah.
Whereas a ricked barrel of whiskey is what I think a lot of people think of when you go into a rick house. You see whiskey barrels laying on their sides with the barrel heads kind of, if you're looking at it, would be facing right towards you. Again, barrel on its side with the top and the bottom
This
of
way.
the barrel
This way.
east and west.
That's a long explanation. Rather than palatized and
well, not
rick
everybody.
house.
Hot dog and hamburger.
But there's
Thank you.
Oh, that's right. Not everybody's watching video. Damn it, people, get on YouTube and subscribe to us.
I'll tell you what.
Watch the video. So, but yes. So Chad, I mean, you kind of work in the industry. So, I mean, your experience, your experiences with palatized, do you guys
Mix, just really what works and the facility that stuff is at. So we, Rare Character, we store in different facilities, and there's different storing capacities for those places. Some places, require it. Everything's on a pallet. Some require it's on a rack, or it's rackable, or go into a rick or whatever. So to Matt's point, talking about, on a pallet is, a barrel standing up. So there is not as much contact with both barrel heads. So, if you have a toasted head or a charred head, and, because that costs money. So if you're paying for that, you would rather it be on a rack or in a rick because it's touching both of those. It's laying on its side. So all that liquid gets to interact with both of those. Versus being vertical, it's only interacting one of them.
And this, of course, assumes there's evaporation. If you have a completely full barrel,
Right.
you are getting full contact with everything. But, of course, as the whiskey matures, there's evaporation of the liquid, so you're losing a bunch of the liquid inside the barrel. So what Chad is saying, if you're storing it palatized or up and down, the whiskey might not be touching the top of the head because there is so much evaporation.
Right. Well, even even to get into technical terms, a full 53-gallon barrel actually will hold almost 56 gallons, 55 and a half, because it needs that air gap in there. So when you put the bung in, that it actually has room to move. So there's some pressure. So yes, ideally everyone would want their stuff to be on a rick and on a rack or whatever that way. And racks are, little metal things. Like if you go to places like Starlight and smaller distilleries, that they put them all on racks that are movable 2 to 3 barrels at a time. Same thing as a rick, with just metal forkliftable. But it's all, it's preference. So, you go to Castle and Key, you go to MGP, you go to some of these places, it's a mix. Like MGP does not have rick houses. They have warehouses, and everything is palletized.
Right.
It takes them 3 years to inventory start to finish of all the barrels they have on site. and everything's palatized. They're going 10, 12 pallets high. And if you've seen a barrel, a barrel's 3.5 foot tall, and you go 10, 12 of those high, that's pretty damn tall.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
That's pretty crazy.
So I mean, that alone will create some variance, and that's why with MGP, you see some of these crazy wild proof points come out of there. It's like super low, super high. You go like Castle and Key on the other hand, though. You go there, you do a tour there, and you see their warehouses between. You go to the old rick house that's out in the corner. That's, it's so dusty and moldy in there, but then those barrels can sit in there for a year and look like shit. But then you see the actual warehouse that they're using modern day now. Everything's palatized and clean, bright. But
Right.
It all just depends on what you want. So if there's no right or wrong, and to me, and whether or not it's easier or harder to blend those barrels, because it's really just what your intended purpose is for that. So like there is a taste profile that's going to come from those barrels that are standing up and down, because they're not going to have as much interaction with all the wood. But that's assuming that the heads are both toasted and charred.
Right.
If they're not, if they're just virgin oak heads, it doesn't matter. They're going to get the
Good point.
same amount of
interaction.
oak that they would otherwise. But it's not an argument. I love this conversation. I had this 2 weeks ago with someone else who was telling me that palatized is wrong. But I mean, it's really like, if it's a small producer, it's a convenience thing.
I think it's situational too. Like you
Yeah.
said, if you're not spending the extra money to, toast or char the heads,
Yeah.
I mean, what's it going to hurt?
Yeah, that makes sense, because you get the staves. If you're standing straight up, you're going to have contact with all the staves around the circumference of the barrel.
At that point, you're gonna actually touch more staves than laying
Yeah.
on a side.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
But generally, all the staves should be charred and toasted in most barrels. They're going to be
Right.
toasted and or charred to the same level. So even if they're just touching 75% on its side, if they're touching 60% of the staves, versus all of them, it shouldn't technically make that big of a difference. But the difference I see, what you're saying, is whether there's contact with the heads. If the heads are toasted and charred differently, then that would make a significant difference on the profile of the maturation as well.
And I'm sure there is, like, someone can break it down by science and saying, like, well, the heads offer 10 or 12 or 3% difference. But I mean, like, that's to me, that's the only spot where I think it would really matter.
Philip?
So I'm thinking it's more an airflow thing.
Well, that's a good point too. I mean,
so
the
like
airflow
when you got it on
maturation
a pallet,
process,
you've
right?
got 4 barrels all butted up together.
Right.
If there was a breeze going through rickhouse, it's going to go around.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Versus going over every barrel.
Yeah, that's a very good
I
point.
think
So
I think airflow
will affect
That too.
your maturation in terms
Because I mean,
of the
your
evaporation
contraction
process.
and expansion of the barrels, the more airflow you have, the more it's going to expand and contract.
Like, have you guys been to New Riff lately to their at all or ever?
have, yeah.
Their warehouse that's up there, like on the river, and they'll tell you, like, the proof will go down, and like, it's packed, and it's same thing with MGP, but literally from front to it is just packed with barrels. Like you can't see. So the ones in the middle, like airflow is a good point. They're not getting as much airflow, so those aren't seeing as much of an aging. But it's also one of those things where when it's super hot, it's going to contain that heat.
Right.
Super cold, it'll contain that cold. So that's a fun experiment. I would love to see a distillery be like, we put 20,000 barrels palatized, 20,000 rick,
Right.
and then measure every range of that from floor one and from like front to back middle.
See how it affects it. But that's a good point, Philip. I hadn't even thought about that. I was just thinking,
Do that same experiment on a micro level with just like a shipping container then?
Yeah, I mean, you could with both ends open and so the thing with shipping containers, like, I mean, you can stack like 4 barrels high, or 2 on 2. So I mean, you could in a way. I mean, it's possible. Everything can be done in a vacuum essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's open both sides up, put them in there, and then just kind of see like temperature levels and air density.
I can't do anything in a vacuum. It's too small. I can't fit in there. I don't know how the fuck you fit into a vacuum.
I was going to ask a serious question.
Please ask a serious question,
Yes,
Stacey.
save
Do
me.
you think? God,
But I still don't know how you can fit in a vacuum. But
No. My question was, if you are going to palatize, would you need to rotate the barrels at all?
well, I think you mean like flip them.
I would.
Or-
I would think
You
so.
just-
like bringing the ones off the bottom.
Oh, rotate them that way.
Yeah,
'Cause your
rotate 'em
heat-
that way.
Yeah.
Probably not. I mean, it's not Maker's Mark, which I've never seen them rotate a barrel anytime I've ever been there. But
They apparently do.
They
for
apparently do.
50, 73 years now.
That's what I've.
70, what is 71 years.
Tales old as time.
Apparently.
Never
That's-
seen it,
that's
but
the story.
Mark's
mean-
been around longer though, so maybe.
Shut up.
Well, yeah, he was there when they broke ground.
Oh, wow. Look, I'm the one that told Bill and Margie, look, here's what you need to do.
Red wax.
Red wax.
Is that kind of like how you told the guys at Country Boy not to do it? Not
Yeah.
to start the brewery.
Yeah.
That's a true story, and it's a sad.
I'm
sad
really glad
statement.
that you were wrong about that. By the
Yeah,
way.
I know. Me too.
Oh,
but
I meant to get. I was running late. I couldn't get any Cougar Beer. I
Yeah,
meant to grab some Cougar
That's
Beer
okay.
today.
I brought.
she
Busch
brought some
Light.
Bush Lights for everybody to enjoy. So
What?
yeah,
I want a Busch
we'll have,
Light.
we'll have to get you one at the break.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, we
So-
will.
So, guys, we're almost at the end of round 2 here already, but let's jump back. Let's talk about the whiskey some more. So, Stacy,
Oh, damn it.
what?
That's fine.
Do you not want to do it? Are you not comfortable enough in your bourbon expertise to jump in? Do I need to throw it to Chad? Let him.
Are you
wax?
not a
No,
strong
don't
independent
throw it.
woman?
Don't
Okay. Come on.
don't throw it to Chad. This is
I'll catch it.
quintessential of everything that I look for in a bourbon. On the palate for me, originally when I first took a sip, it gave me like cinnamon roll vibes. Not like a pungent cinnamon, but like that like light desserty. And then I think it's more so like the icing that you get with like the Pillsbury cinnamon rolls that's coming
Gotcha.
through on me. It's like real light. I don't know. It's very desserty to me.
Were you talking about
Cream cheese.
cream
Yeah,
cheese?
the cream
Yeah,
cheese.
the
Like,
cream
yeah,
cheese.
he was
But
right
seriously,
on with that.
like-
It's on the palate.
It's got a
Yeah,
little
okay.
bit of that funk there
Yeah.
from the cream cheese where it's not like punchy in the face like buttercream.
Yeah.
I think that was a really good call out, but it shines through on the palate as well, and I really dig it.
Nice.
I like
Yeah,
it.
I think this tastes like Anita's cake that she brought down before.
Oh,
Something similar to that. Yeah.
gotcha. Okay.
Which
Okay,
I would eat.
okay.
I would
Well,
eat some.
I think Mark just found something out right now. But
We're going to take a quick break.
Well, what's wrong, Dry Socket? You hungry for mashed potatoes and pudding and soft foods?
Oh, man. All right, Matt, what do you get on the palate to finish?
This, while we're on the subject of confectionery goods and baked goods,
Ass kickings.
Stacey,
and ass-
you made
ass whippings.
like the diabetes cake for us all.
Oh,
This,
yeah.
to me, has a lot of the flavors of
Of my
that.
diabetes cake, maybe.
Yeah,
I
of
like it
that,
so much.
That pecan, was it a
So I made a bourbon.
bourbon.
I
Yeah,
made
yeah,
a
bourbon
bourbon,
pecan.
cake, a bourbon soaked. It was a brown butter soaked
Okay.
bourbon
Yeah.
cake, and
Oh.
it did have pecans.
Okay, because to me, this
Yeah.
like there's definitely a brown butter aroma. There's like
Oh, for sure.
a nuttiness that comes across. Definitely the cinnamon, but the bourbon. I know it's like not sophisticated to say that bourbon tastes like bourbon flavored frosting or icing,
But it does have that feel
this-
to it.
Yeah.
This really has like that, just like that cake that you made. There's the pecan there. There's that nuttiness from the brown butter. The cake batter flavor is there, and definitely the frosting, like that bourbon frosting, the icing is definitely on it as well. There's a little heat. I pick up some peppercorn, like some of the cinnamon plays with the finish as well. But this is just a really great drinking bourbon.
Chad, what about you? I know you've already said you're a fanboy of it. So what do you get on
oh yeah. So I had it Sunday. Before it I had some 130 proof. So I was like, oh, it drinks a little thin. But coming from 103 proof to this, more in line with it, and a bad 103 proof to this, makes me appreciate this more, especially at 100 proof. No, I think this is definitely, it's got a little bit. It drinks like 100% a dusty. I thought this was a dusty bourbon when it was blinded to me on Sunday, and it's still, even knowing what I'm drinking now, still drinks like a dusty. To me, this is almost a perfect bourbon. Like this,
agree.
it's hard for me to say something's a 10 out of 10. Or 100 out of 100 or whatever.
It's like a 9.89.
Yeah, this is the only thing that I like, and I'd have to nitpick at would be the fact that like I can't have more of it or find more of it.
You can have some more of that. I don't care.
I will.
Yes.
But
I'm having some more of it.
it's got a lot of the dusty brown sugar, chocolate, leathery, and it's not like super dry leather. It's like a hint of that leather, like tan leather. Like musty barn tobacco, which is anytime I find that in a bourbon, it's one of my favorite notes to find. It's
but it's not overpowering.
it's
on those
not
notes.
no, everything is it's so balanced. Everything is so balanced. I don't think it drinks like 100 proof. I think it drinks a lot softer. The mouthfeel is a little thin, but that also kind of adds to the dusty complexity of it, because some of those older bourbons were a little they might have been 90 proof. We're not really sure, but it wasn't really.
They put it in the jar and shook it, and they're like, "Yep, that looks like
it was kind of a science back then." But like to me, this is like so close to, because I'm a big fan of that 60s and 70s bourbon profile and like the way those things taste, and this really kind of is akin to that.
After your time, Mark.
But it is almost a perfect bourbon. I love it.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. The only drawback to me, it hits like mid palate, and then it kind of, to me, it vanishes. It's a little thin on the back end of this, and I get a little bit of a tannic finish on it too.
Really?
To me, it's drying on my palate, and it could just be me. It could just be the way could just be the fact that
I can see where you're coming from. I don't think you're out of line to say that.
Okay.
There is some drying effect on the end, but I think.
Do you think it's because you were expecting it to have like more of a lingering finish because of the dessert notes?
I think so. I think I was hoping that it would be, this long lasting finish that hit the entire palate. Like I could feel it on the front and in the mid part of my tongue, really more than anything else. But then it's just, I get some peppercorn, a little spice that in the back of my palate, but it's almost like gone. Like I drink it and it's almost gone, but there's this drying effect as well. So yes, I like it, but it's not like, I don't know. I feel bad now because you guys have all gone nuts over it. And I'm just like,
curious. No,
I'm just like,
that makes sense. And
it's good, but it's not like something I'm like crazy about. You know what I mean?
I think it's really.
I'll buy the rest off
yeah,
you.
Same. Yeah, I'll take
I think
it.
it's really good, but the finish is short. It does.
Okay.
It does,
Okay.
The worst
All right.
part of it is it kind of it falls flat, but
Okay. All right. Well, I just want to make sure I
Everything
wasn't
else, though,
crazy
like,
because you guys are going on, and I'm
No,
like,
the nose and the palate.
I'm missing something here,
it's
man.
nice because
Like,
it matches.
and then I'm thinking, okay, it could be the dry socket.
No, it's the dry finish.
It was that
dry
cock you put
finish,
in your
that's
mouth
the dry
earlier.
that fighting cock.
Ooh, wow.
It's fighting for your palate.
Okay. Well, I think it's time for a bathroom break. So why don't we take a break?
That depends.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
Matt is
Wait,
on
where's the
one
button? Is there
tonight.
well, we don't have the headphones
But
on, so I don't know which button does what.
I
so.
kind of feel lost on headphones.
Do you really?
Yeah, it is. It's weird.
It's like
Is it?
it's like a
It's
comfort
weird.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay. Well, we can go back when we're doing it. We can have that.
And when you have
headphones,
them
but-
on, you know you're not talking over people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll go back to headphones. And
Mark's like more fucking cables.
I know more crap for me to set up, but hey, that's
It
okay.
is comforting.
Is it? It makes you feel like a warm
the
hug.
earmuffs.
Like
Yeah.
the earmuffs. There you go. Back to the earmuffs.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So, what are your final thoughts though on this one? We'll wrap it up with that.
Fixture.
Picture. Yeah. I
Yeah.
would buy it. For what'd you say it was?
I think it was 120. 125.
I'll give you $100.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to keep it. I mean, I like it, but it's just not like mind blowing.
He just doesn't want you to have
I just don't want
happiness.
you. I don't want you to have it, Chad.
I'm a tightwad. I would pay 120
Yeah.
for it.
I would
okay.
too.
All right.
No, yeah.
Matt, what do you
sure?
What about? Oh,
I quit. I'm
yeah.
done.
You know,
Yeah.
for the
We're not
price,
done
I
yet.
think
Sit
I would
down,
actually,
Chad.
I would.
Oh man, Chad has left.
I think I would actually buy something else. It's really good.
He would
but-
buy all the fighting cock, guys.
There you go.
That's what he would buy.
All right, I get it. I get
It's
it.
okay.
Matt.
No, I mean,
Average Tuesday for
this
Matt.
is good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy I have it. So I'll leave it at that. I liked it. It wasn't like mind-blowingly awesome, but yeah, it was good. So, all right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up on that note. Get a word from our sponsors. We'll be back with more with the Bourbon Life Crew in just a minute.
Three Chords line of whiskeys embody the spirit of creativity. The whiskey is a true collaboration between producer and composer Neil Giraldo and master blender distiller Ari Sussman. The three-chord team of expert blenders, coopers, and sensory professionals have developed a multi-step process they called Perfectly Tuned Taste. This process begins by carefully selecting the finest bourbon and rye whiskeys from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana, and then blending them together. Find out more about the whiskeys and distribution in your area at www.threechordbourbon.com.
Bluegrass Distillers is a craft distillery with a passion for producing exceptional bourbon. They're committed to the art of distillation, using locally sourced grains to create a distinct and flavorful bourbon that captures the essence of Kentucky's rich whiskey heritage. Bluegrass Distillers takes pride in their small batch, hands-on approach, ensuring quality and attention to detail in every bottle they make, like their limited release 9-year-old Elkwood Reserve Bourbon, which is currently available for purchase at their brand new Visitor Center in Midway, Kentucky, their distillery in Lexington, and select stores throughout Kentucky. And with their new distillery slated to begin operation in spring of 2024, you'll be able to pick up even more exceptional spirits from them, like their wheated bourbon and their blue corn bourbon in the spring and fall. For more details and to plan your visit, check out their website at bluegrassdistillers.com. All right, everybody, welcome back for the third and happily final round of the Bourbon Life Podcast.
Happily, yeah, right.
I'm your host, Mark, and with me here live tonight in the Bourbon Life Studio, otherwise known as my basement, around the flights of the round table, it's my good friends, Chad.
Hey, I'm having a beer.
And Stacey.
I'm also having a beer.
And Matt.
I'm not having a beer.
Yeah. And Philip.
Everybody.
My hips don't lie.
Yeah.
And Mark. Hey, I'm having a beer myself.
He knows this beer,
It's a
actually.
Busch Light, brought to you by
Yeah.
Busch Light. We're the Bourbon Light Podcast, presented by Liquor Barn and brought to you by, no, we're not.
Listen, if we got
We need to get a
a
Busch Light sponsor.
sponsorship
Hell
from
yeah.
Busch Light, I would be
Move over
the
mountains.
freaking
Oh, man.
happiest girl on the planet. I would
Hey,
wear
if we
Busch
just-
Light
if we
logos
Country boy.
all day,
If we
every
just
day.
talk about them enough, they'll sponsor us. They did Shane Gillis. Every time he went on Joe Rogan's podcast, he'd be drinking Bud Light. And finally they were like, well, he's the only person that drinks it.
But Bud Light is in some desperate times. Busch Light, though
that's
owned
right.
by the same parent company,
Yes.
is not in desperate
That's right.
times.
Yeah, I'm
Because I
gonna
keep
hold out
them
for
in
country-
business.
Die
Hold on,
hard.
the country boy.
You know personally
Yeah,
because you
I
Here at
keep
the Bourbon
them
Life
in-
Podcast, we accept no substitutions. We are Cougar Bait fans through and through.
That's right, man.
Hey, but-
there you go.
I crushed a
That's
12-pack of
guess
Busch
what?
Light for a Super Bowl. So, yeah.
Did you? Nice.
Same.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Actually, no, I didn't drink during the Super Bowl.
I didn't either. I don't think.
I did because
I had
watch that
one
shit
beer
without.
because that, oh my God, it was horrible.
You did.
I've not watched Super Bowl since the Eagles won in like 2008.
For real?
So-
Do you
I
not
swear to
watch
God.
sports?
No.
What do you do with your free time?
Don't ask that question. Don't answer that question. Let's talk about what
My
we're drinking,
lawyer has
Matt.
advised me not
Yeah.
to answer that question.
Chad, invoke your rights under the Fifth Amendment, and just let's move on now. So,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Chad's going to invoke his rights under the Fifth Amendment and not answer that
What
question.
a puss.
No, stricken from the docket.
There you go.
What a puss.
Matt, are you reading up on what you brought us? What did you bring us?
Well, this is the next tag.
Small
Doesn't
Bible.
really,
Yeah, the next tag.
doesn't show anything. Yeah, this is like the little
The little Gideon's Bibles, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
this is
gonna
like
give
what
us
you
a-
pull out of your like nativity
There's
calendar.
Matthew
Yeah.
3:14 over there. Yeah.
Did you call it a nativity calendar?
Yeah.
For God so loved the
Advent
world.
calendar. This is actually
John
my
3:16. There you go.
Oh,
autobiography. As interesting as I get. But anyway,
It's a short story, kind of like
does
his.
it
Go ahead, Matt.
does it
long ending.
does it have a bit about the closet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the novel.
Hey, what are we drinking this round?
Yeah.
Matt? Why don't you-
What do we
Oh
having
gosh,
tonight?
it just wouldn't be a great crew episode if there weren't some rye whiskey on here.
Yeah,
Amen.
that's right.
Yeah, that's right. And so I brought a personal favorite of mine. This is the Kings County Empire Rye
One of
out
my
of New
faves,
York.
too.
This is batch number 6,
Nice.
coming in at 51%, 102 proof. It's got the Empire Rye insignia right on the side there. So Kings County, big advocates for the Empire Rye.
Yeah.
Says right on here, 80% New York rye, 20% UK malt. So Empire Rye is the
They got it from here in Lexington, over here at the Beam Institute. You said
No,
UK
fun
rye.
fact, George Washington grew this rye.
You said UK rye.
Washington.
Yeah, Washington.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, Washington.
Okay.
So
Oh,
anyway,
not University of Kentucky, right?
Correct.
I'm
That's
so
right.
sorry.
Not
Okay.
not the UK, the U of K.
The U of the K.
Yeah.
I got you. All right. Well, thank you, Matt. Appreciate you
yeah,
bringing that.
absolutely. Love to have a good rye on the show, especially a nice
Yeah.
Empire Rye. Gotta love what
Hell
they're doing.
What was our guy's name? Colin Spellman?
Did you?
Colin Spoolman.
Yeah.
Spellman, Spoolman. Yeah.
Spellman. I think it's Spellman.
I've heard it both ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Colin.
He wrote a book too. I got it on my desk in there.
Do you?
Dead Distillers.
I would like
Oh,
to.
yeah.
I would like to read that.
I haven't read it yet. I got the book. I
Very
just haven't.
morbid.
It's on my. No, I thought it's just cool.
It's a
He
really
just
cool book,
wrote a-
actually.
He and I can't remember the other guy. I think it's his co-founder. I think they both wrote the book, Dead Distillers.
I would like to read that when you're
Yeah,
done.
so I do have. You know what?
Do you
I'll-
know how to read? Just kidding. I'd like.
Anyway,
go ahead. I'd
so
like to read it.
who wants to
I
talk
already
about
gave my
It's a book on
previous-
tape.
Chad, what do you
Does it
pick
have
up on the
pictures?
nose on this here
So-
Empire Rye from?
For me, I get a lot of. Excuse me.
Your excuse.
Thank you. Can we strike that from the record, please?
Stricken.
Stricken.
It is so stricken.
It's so stricken.
I get a ton of caramel. There's like a weird sawdusty note to it. Like cedar, a little bit of spice.
It's like I just put my pencil into pencil sharpener. You know what I'm saying?
But it's not number 2
you know,
graphite. No, it's not that.
It's
thing.
my Ticonderoga #2 pencil. But
the fact that you
Rosa
can, the
art.
fact that you can say that word, like growing up for me, is like Ticonder anaconda. you know?
like Monongahela.
Let's not go back.
Let's revisit one on.
We're not doing that
time.
again. Yeah.
Anyway,
Bad.
It was bad.
no,
I had to admit I was wrong to Mark.
We don't have to bring that back up. But
It's no, it's all right. I'm a big enough man
No,
to
I
admit
admitted
was wrong.
I admitted I was wrong, but I also didn't know. So it's like I was arguing for the sake of arguing.
and that's why we love Chad.
yes,
But
I appreciate
no,
it.
like I like the nose on this. It's a little bit of like pine, fresh citrus, fresh fruit. It's got like it's weird that you like it. I get a little bit of melon on here, like cantaloupe, like fresh melon note, Matt. It's very
You
bright.
just ruined Matt's favorite.
Yeah,
rye.
no. It's very to me. It's very inviting. It's different. It's very different. So for Empire Rye, what the minimum is 71% rye?
It's 80-20. So all Empire Ryes have to be 80-20.
Oh, I thought it was like
And
70.
so
There you
Well,
go.
okay,
New York,
Matt's schooling
New
us.
York
Thanks, man.
grown rye.
Yeah.
Right.
It has to be New York grown rye, 80-20 mash bill. I believe you can't go in the barrel over 105 proof.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. Low proof.
It is low proof. Is it? You might.
I think it's
I think you're
105.
right. I think you're right. I think it is 105.
2-year minimum, I want to say. Because
I want more restrictions like this. New topic next episode.
Better restrictions.
Rye
Tougher
restrictions or
restrictions.
No,
in
just general.
restrictions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, this is aged 2 years or more. It says on the back. So I mean,
This is
every reason to believe this is considerably older than 2 years, but there is a 2-year.
Yeah.
Well,
Look at
it's
the color
darkest.
on that.
It's darkest.
It is straight.
I mean,
they do like 30. To
They do
30 to 50
small
degrees.
barrels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, that was one of the things I was going to bring up. The color on this
Yeah.
is very, very dark.
yeah. All right. So, Philip, what about you? What do you get?
I get a lot of. It's a lot more citrusy than a typical rye. I do get a little bit of that grassy hay note, but I definitely don't get like that spearmint that you typically
Yeah,
get
the
with the rye.
mintiness. Yeah.
But it's nice. I think it's a good bourbon drinker's rye.
Gotcha.
If you're not into the rye stuff, this is a good.
Stacy, what about you?
It's a light and inviting nose. I get a lot of like citrus oils from it. Not to go back, we've talked about lemon pledge before,
Yeah.
but you get like the oiliness from lemon, not necessarily lemon
Yeah.
juice or like a lemon per se. But I get a lot of like lemongrass, like grassy notes. Not necessarily hay to me, but like fresh grass on this.
Got it.
No spearmint notes at all on this one for me.
Matt, did you give your notes?
I have not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, not a problem. It's got a great kind of pot stilled funk on the nose that I pick up. Just
Philip's like,
well, we talk about the like a column still. Oftentimes the flavors, the aromas are like really tight. Everything like fits well within a profile. Sometimes within a pot still, you get like these weird off notes or just like different ends of the spectrum coming through. And to me, this
Yeah, Matt's nickname in high school was Calm still. So
yeah,
tight,
tight. Anyway, lemongrass. That's what I get, in case anybody's wondering.
that's a good note.
Yeah, lemongrass is just like,
The bourbon master's checking off the dust over here.
no, it's just like, you guys are talking citrus and everything. I'm just like, dude, it's like, we used to have lemongrass plants at our old house. And like, when I'd try to go out and trim it up and break off a stem,
lemongrass, like Thai lemongrass.
like real lemongrass plants or what, I mean, whatever.
Or like lemon
like
water.
like the big, full, tall lemongrass. Yeah.
They
So,
were trying to branch out back in their
yeah, I was
days.
trying to grow,
They,
trying to
their
camouflage some other
produce.
things we were
back then
growing
it
in
was
the
grass.
Yeah, it was just grass. But I'd go out and like trim it up and stuff, and you get that oil off the leaves so it kind of smelled like that. So I got that.
Barnwood to me.
Yeah.
Well, I got that. You talk about cedar. I mean, honestly, it reminded me of the pencil shavings. Which I haven't picked up on something in a long time.
It's kind of briny, I think, like mossy barn.
Yeah.
Hey, whose turn is it, Matt? You had your
cut
turn.
me off. I mean, all I got to say was
you were done.
It smells pot stilled, and you were like, "Oh, well, let me just dust off my badge."
I'm so sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you've been married for a while.
Pulling the trigger. There we go. Trigger's been pulled again.
Woo wee.
Yeah. All right.
Beaten up.
I actually got some almost like a hint of like a brown sugar as well. Like after it sat in a glass here for a little while, there was a sweetness that kind of came through it was just kind of a hint of really sweet that came through too with that lemongrass. But anyway, so another topic. Matt proposed something
Yeah.
nice.
Matt proposed to you?
I
Pull that
proposed
trigger.
something.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
guys.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so
I'm happy.
Like you put a ring on it.
Weird father and son relationship, but yeah, hey, we made it. Yeah,
Yay!
2024.
Hey, man,
anything's possible.
I'm from Eastern Kentucky, man. Nothing's out of bounds. So
You're not helping it.
You're from Michigan, so.
go ahead.
Oh God.
Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
So,
please
moving
proceed.
forward, sideways, or wherever. Maybe.
Hey!
Does young whiskey get a bad rap?
It sure does.
Bum, bum,
Yes.
bum.
Let's ask the guy that has a whole collection full.
Let's ask a guy that has a bunch of cheap whiskey. No, I'm just kidding.
That's her.
This is brought to you by Squarespace from Philip.
Yes, it definitely gets a bad rap, and I think the biggest thing is that people don't try it. They think because it's on the bottom shelf or because it's sub $20 now, or sub $50 now.
That's fine.
Sure.
You guys do that because there's more for us.
That's right. But
There you go.
I think a
listen,
lot of people.
Stacey acting like she's Miss Cheap Bottle Whiskey over here.
Hey, listen. She brought Bush Light for everybody, so she dabbles
I'm a
in the
cheap bitch.
she dabbles in the bottom shelf.
I do. Bush Light is not bottom shelf beer.
Goes
You
down
take
on that
back.
bottom shelf.
Oh
I
man.
do. Evan Williams, Bottled and Bond. Hey.
Right?
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
it. Like people
that's
sleep
the-
on these brands, and so yeah, those are coming from the same big distilleries. That's just
Yeah.
like Ancient Age 90 proof.
Right.
Agreed.
Right.
Okay, that's what it's at least 4 years. They don't have an
Well,
age
they're saying
statement on the
Blanton's
bottle.
is now down to
And-
what, 4 years, isn't it? I mean,
So tell me there's a difference.
I don't think there's.
It's
any
the same
difference,
mash bill.
right? Yeah. Other than
A 3 proof points.
warehouse age.
Yeah.
I mean, right.
So,
you get
yeah.
the mystique or the magic of warehouse age.
People always
with
sleep
Blanton's.
on the bottom shelf, and that's fine because it's always more for me. But
Same.
Well, but now you brought the Fighting Cock, and that is not
So-
a good representation.
But
This has
what the-
it's changed.
Okay.
It's changed.
All right.
It's changed.
Yes.
Before
So,
it changed, it was worth it. But Matt, I mean, perfect example is the 6-year-old Bottle and Bond from Heaven Hill, right? Used
Yeah.
to be $12.99 a bottle or $13.99 a bottle,
Right,
right?
But even thinking like younger than that, I think that there's a lot of really good 2 and 3 year whiskey that
Okay,
people are
gotcha.
just not. I think rye whiskey in particular,
Sure,
I
for
think
sure.
a lot of people really look past young rye whiskey, and that's some of my favorite stuff. The notes, the flavors that comes off of a young rye whiskey, that's some of my favorite stuff to drink. Those like really floral distillate baked notes where you really get that rye grain shining through before the barrel comes through, mellows it out and starts to meld things together.
Anything come to mind?
One of my favorites would be like a pinhook,
Oh, okay.
like
yeah.
a 3 or 4 year pinhook rye
Those
Yeah.
are fun.
is
I do like those a lot.
some of the better, I think, young rye whiskey
Yeah.
on the market, around $35.
What was it,
So
the one that they had, was it Tis Rye Time?
Tis Rye Time is one
That
of my
was-
favorites.
I've got
Yeah.
a couple of bottles of that. It's, yeah,
Is good.
it's very good. Very good rye. No, that's a good point, Matt. I mean, and rye whiskey obviously ages differently than bourbon.
Correct.
So younger rye can be more palatable, I guess, maybe than a younger
'cause
bourbon
rye
possibly. but-
is more of a flavor grain,
Right,
And
yeah. Sure.
Corn is not as flavorful. Wheat,
Right.
of course, like you don't get as much flavor out of wheat when you distill it. You need the barrel to really bring more of those wheat
Yeah, good
flavors
point.
forward. Barley, kind of hit or miss, but rye, I think, as a grain, really shines with flavor. Even distillate wise comes through. So I think younger rye whiskeys really drink well. You get a lot of great flavors, but I think there's a great case to be made for younger bourbon as well. Like what are people missing out on? Some of those younger distillate notes where you really get to see that corn shine through. Some of like that sweetness, that brightness that can come from corn and how it interacts with things before the
makes
barrel
sense.
really gets through and mellows it out.
Philip, you mentioned Ancient Age. As
yeah,
an example,
so like
right?
the Ancient Age 90 proof, that's one of my go-tos. If
And
I'm
that's
just
probably, how old is that?
4 years.
years?
Yeah, it's non-aged, so it's got to be 4 years.
least 4,
but
yeah.
I mean, you can go pick that up, and you can pick up a bottle of Blanton's, and if you pour them side by side, you're not going to see a huge difference.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Now, $10.99 versus whatever you're going to pay for that horse on top of that bottle.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not even
Giddy up.
comparable.
$125 on secondary.
Yeah, it's not even comparable. So I think there's that. And then there's also, I think, some of your bigger distilleries, they're releasing young stuff, but like some of your craft distilleries, if you have a mash bill that's not flavorful up front, you age it and then you get your flavors at the end, you know, for the process. Some of your young distilleries, they're having to come off with these tasteful mash bills up front. When it comes off the still, you taste it and you're like,
It tastes
I
good.
would drink that just like that with it out aged.
That makes sense.
So I think people are sleeping on those young ones, especially from small distilleries, because those guys are having to actually put in the work to make it taste good up front, because they know I can't wait 5, 6, 7 years for this to come out. It's got to come out in 2 years.
Good point. What about you, Stace? Anything from a young bourbon perspective? I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's...
I am one. When I started out, I hate my bourbon journey, but seriously, when I first got into bourbon, like on a more serious note.
Now you're a high-level influencer.
Yeah, after a year of doing the bourbon.
I'm sorry we asked you to do this for free. I appreciate you doing it for free, but
I thought that I was going to get $5.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Shit.
I'll pay you later.
Your time and effort.
He'll pay your parking.
Your money's
Okay, great. You validate
You'll be
parking?
validated,
Okay,
yeah.
great,
Yeah.
great.
It's gonna need a stamp up there.
your money's on the dresser.
Disclaimer: I don't have a lawyer here, but I am
You do that
not.
and you bring Bush Light over? More than one Bush in a bit.
Oh my god.
Oh, man. All right.
Anyway, Jesus H Christ.
Yes. So,
I am not above it. I wish that I would have dabbled a little bit more in the lower shelf bourbons getting started, or I wish that I had some friends when I first got started in this,
Right.
that were willing to like do blinds with like, hey, here's a higher end product versus a lower end product.
yeah.
But a lot of my friends too got involved in it and was like, oh, well, if it's like $50 or more, like it's going to be better. That's not necessarily the case.
Good point.
You have some products like we talked about it earlier, Evan Williams Bottle and Bond. Great product, super cheap. You can always find it.
Wild Turkey 101.
Wild Turkey 101, and
Best one.
I'm that way
That's-
with the rye
Knob Creek
too.
9-year, 100 proof.
Absolutely, yes. And I mean, we've all talked about this before. Like,
But it's a 9-year. That's not a young bourbon, though. When we're talking about young bourbons?
No, but I'm saying like
You're talking
what
about
we're,
cheap
but like,
what we're
so
talking.
young bourbon / like
Inexpensive.
bottom shelf.
Okay,
bourbon.
inexpensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of people are like, oh, well, if it's not being like bragged about like constantly on
Yeah,
the
no,
internet,
I get
then
it.
it's not worth it. But I would say to people, don't sleep on it.
Yeah.
Try it. What the hell is it going to matter if you spend $12 to $20 on a bottle and you hate it? So what? It becomes a mixer
Right.
on your shelf. Like,
I
so
spent, I
what?
spent more and got less. So
Exactly. So
no
I'm
doubt.
all about it, but also like
Like that
don't go-
1924.
Don't go buying all of it, okay? Because I want to buy some when I go to the store. So
Chad, what are your thoughts, man?
like Philip earlier talking about, ancient age, things like Benchmark. It's amazing to me that and not even knocking like your Blantons, Rock Hill, Elmer. It's not even saying like things have gotten younger. It's just the quality of those. The gap is kind of like decreasing. The difference in those. I'm a big fan of ancient age.
Yeah.
10-star.
Yeah.
My friends in Virginia, I love you guys, who hooked me up with bottles. It's $35 for a handle. And the rumor is that that's like 3 to 10-year-old or whatever. But sometimes young stuff is great. And like, when it comes to things like New Riff, brands, shut up. My lawyer has advised me that
Really? Man.
but things like brands like New Riff and Wilderness Trail and like Peerless, people who put out 4 and 5-year-old product for 4 and 5 years,
Right.
who only put out young product, and we're doing great. Spirits of French Lick, ironically, the things I like from Spirits of French Lick were their things that were younger before they dropped an age statement on stuff, and because it was fun, it was experimental. You didn't know what you were getting, but it kind of helped. But the price point was there, and age matters to a degree. Like this 10-year-old Forester we drink tonight, absolutely love it. But would I be just as happy with some like 2.5-year-old bluegrass distillers? Yeah, because they're blue corn. Not
Right,
everyone's
right.
doing blue corn. It's funky to me. It's got a lot of like Nutella, hazelnut, chocolate notes.
they did a really good job with their young stuff.
And they did, and,
sure.
and then people like Jeps the Creed with doing their red, white, and blue corn. Like, it's a risk. It is an extreme risk to put out a young bourbon in today's market where everyone expects a non-age stated or like a non-age stated means it's 4 years, or an age stated product. For a craft distillery to come out and put like This is 2 years old, and we feel comfortable doing that is a big push.
Well, and then think about Castle and Key too, putting out their
So
like the 2-year rye,
putting out a a 2-3 year rye, and people are
Smooth.
country smooth, putting out a 24 month old product minimum. And that's the thing, it's minimum. There are, like Castle and Key coming out with a 2.5-year-old rye whiskey or 3-year-old, whatever it was. That was the youngest. There might have been a 4-year-old barrel in there, but like, it's.
And I think that's another point of confusion too. A lot of people see just that 2-year minimum, and they're like, "Oh, well, that's all."
It's got to be 2. It's only 2.
That's not necessarily.
Well, in fact, talking with Dan, of course, you were talking about something completely different with Michter's. Talking about their 10-year-old rye. It's like, it says 10-year-old rye, but those barrels are in there could be.
Yeah,
the youngest barrel was 10 years.
I love Dan. So like I was at an event with him, and Andrea was there, and she walked in, and me and 2 other people were talking to him, and he's like, well, I better stop now because she's gonna get real mad right now if I keep talking, because I'll say too much. And Andrew's like, what did he say? Because he's one of those, he's so nice, but he'll tell you
super nice dude.
He'll tell you whatever, but that's like the 10-year rye for them. I don't think they've ever done a 10-year rye. I think the youngest rye or bourbon it's been like 12.
Yeah.
So they're putting out. They're doing overproduction and over qualitizing their product for what it is versus like craft and big brands like.
Yep.
I guarantee we could pour Benchmark up here for all of us on the next round, and I'll be like, hey, it's great. It's a awesome bourbon, 80 or 90 proof, whatever Benchmark is.
It's 80. Yeah.
And just be happy with what that is. But you bring it out and say, oh, it's Benchmark 80 proof. Oh,
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that's where the product lie, or the issue lies, is people see a product at face value and they see the name, they see whatever, but there's so much you can do with youth in a bourbon. Like Peerless, for me, I shat on their 2-year rye for so long. I shat on their 2-year rye, and I told John this to his face. I was like, I cannot believe you guys were asking $100 for it, and then I didn't drink their rye till I was 4 years old. And he said, try this. He said, it's a single barrel. And actually,
their single barrel ryes cannot be.
He was like, try this single barrel for me. And he poured up a sample for me and my buddy and tried it. I'm like, oh, it's really great. He's like, that's 2-year-old rye. And I was like, oh shit. Then he poured up a sample of bourbon. He's like, try this bourbon for me. It was 18-month-old bourbon from their flight when they were doing 18-month, 24-month, 36-month, their bourbon. I'm like, I would buy the 18-month-old bourbon over a ton of mass-produced stuff on the market today.
Yeah.
But
it's just crazy, and I think you're right. I think people get caught up in age, and I think the key is that people you need to take those risks and just buy something and just try it. You know what?
And there's an art of distilling, and I think we always joke that I love the pot still stuff, but it's because it's outside of the norm. Right. Everything you get from name a big distillery, most of it is all column distilled.
Right.
Well, it shows the flaws. You know, and column still, like you can literally get that within the temperature range of cutting off all that. But with pot still, it's a little more nuanced.
Yeah. There's an art to it, and so those people that are distilling on a pot still, they're actually sitting there having to think, okay, if I add this much of this grain or this much of this grain, when you do a column still, you can strip that out if there's a bad flavor, and if you don't strip it out at that point, you've stripped it out enough to where you can age it out. These pot still, distillers, they have to be on their P's and Q's from the beginning, because if it doesn't come out right when it comes out of that worm, then it's not going to taste right, even if you age it for a year or two.
That's a good point. All right, guys, so let's jump back. We're at the end of round 3, but let's talk about the whiskey. We got to talk about the palate and the finish on this one. We have not done that. Matt, I'm going to throw it back to you on this final, since you brought it. So.
Hey, I'll take it.
Awesome.
Great pot stilled palate on this. It's got it tastes a lot of grain. A lot of that distilled rye is in there. Some of that funky barnwood thyme, like the herb of thyme, comes across to me. Grassy notes. There's a lot of honey with it as well. I think the malted barley really makes a good case in this one, kind of bringing some roasty flavors on the finish that really play well with the bready, crackery type note on the rye. Just balanced out with the sweetness coming through and the honey and the mint. It's an absolute hit for me.
Yeah. Chad followed it up because he stole your stuff.
yeah.
He stole your thunder. I can tell.
So like bread crackery note was like, I mean like 100% where I was leading on that, like thinking it's got this like saltine, like you eat a cracker, the dryness flavor, but it's got a lot of fresh. It's herbal. It is youthful in a weird way. Like I can see where it is a 2.5-year-old rye or plus. But it doesn't drink like a young rye. It's got flavors of youth, but it drinks a lot older. I really enjoy it. A lot of citrus, light fruit, peach, apple, apricot kind of notes to it. But yeah, it's whenever he said cracker, bready kind of notes, that was like my thing. So the malt really kind of does come through and give you those flavors. So
Philip, what about you, man?
For me, I agree with both them. For me, on the front of the palate, I got like a nice punch of like a citrus lemon type.
Yeah.
And then as you swallow on the finish, you get more of that classic rye flavor.
Stacy?
I would agree with everybody. Citrus on the front for me as well. Mid palate, it's like communion crackers for me.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to get religious
you,
on
Ty.
everybody, you know, God bless everybody. But then the finish has like a nice, like you mentioned, apricot.
Yeah.
I do get like a stone fruitish type vibe on the finish. But I think this is really good grassy notes throughout, which is what I like in my ryes. Can you tone it down, please?
Really, man? Can you keep it down over there? I get, Matt, you're talking about the roastiness. I get like a hint of almost like a roasted coffee. Like a coffee bean or coffee, like a hint.
Mocha chocolate.
Yeah, like a little
that.
little coffee. I really like that. So yeah,
I think it's really well done.
it's funny because the stuff that they do, if you tell me about it, probably I'd be like, I don't think I'm gonna like that, But it's like everything I taste from Colin and Kings County, I'm like
Peated bourbon.
I'm like, damn, I really
their peanut bourbon.
yeah.
the peated bourbon. I was like, holy
amazing.
shit! I mean, I was like,
it confused my mind.
It,
when I tried
I was like,
yeah.
I hate peated whiskey, and I'm like, oh my god, we had him on the show drinking it. I'm like, Colin, you have no idea what this like.
He totally mind-effed you, didn't
He really did. I mean, completely. So everything I taste from these guys, I'm like,
He mind fighting cocked him.
yeah.
Hey,
And I got a dry socket to prove. Yeah. Anyway, all right, guys. So hey, I'm a fan of this one. What do you guys think? Everybody?
No,
Yeah.
fixtures
Yeah,
for me.
fixtures,
for
yeah.
sure.
Love it.
Pricing on this, Matt? Do you remember? Any idea?
It is a little steep. I will say $100.
Yeah. Okay.
Kings County is expensive, but
Yeah.
I've never had a product, even the peated bourbon. I've never had a product from them that I disliked.
Same.
Yeah.
I've never
yeah.
had anything that's disappointed me from them.
I have multiple batches of this, so obviously for me,
Yeah.
it's
You're a
And you
fan.
said this was what, batch 6?
this is batch 6, 51%. Batch 7, I believe, is like 61% alcohol, 120 proof or around
Nice.
So I had one of their earlier batches of this, and I liked it, but I think I like this more.
Matt's a big fan.
Yeah.
there. Everything coming out of
All right, kids, we're at the end of round 3. I'm so sorry. We got to wrap it
Philip,
up.
what'd you think?
Oh, I'm sorry, Philip.
I thought it was delicious. And the moral of the story is don't sleep on the brands you don't know.
Exactly.
Look
Do
into
some
them.
research.
Yes, look into them, see what they're about, see what they're doing.
Yeah.
They
Because
might have similar mash bills
Yeah.
to something you're familiar with.
yeah, and these people are trying new things. Big distilleries don't try new things. They just do the same thing that works all the time. So try the new stuff because you might surprise you.
And can I just tell you how wonderful? Look, are you getting the blue light on Philip there? You saw, yeah. I know it's awesome, man.
Multicam.
Everybody's got the multicam on
Yeah.
Philip there, so that's awesome.
Thank you.
You're looking good with that blue light behind you. I just felt so bad.
Shakira.
I know how to negotiate a contract.
There you go, man. PR agency. They're just like, you got to do something, right? Anyway, kids, before we wrap it up and get out of here, any final thoughts, Philip?
It's been a blast. It's a pleasure being back with all of you.
Great
all.
to have you back,
Yeah.
man.
And
I'm glad that you actually
Happy to
fucking
see you.
came
Yeah,
back.
happy you didn't drop out on us.
because I'm fucking busy.
Hey, I get it.
Yeah. Yep.
No, it's been a blast, and I think we had great pours. Obviously, Fighting Cock's changed a little bit, but we'll let you take care of that with your dry socket.
Matt, final thoughts, man. Please don't reference my dry socket.
Good to
Okay.
have the team back together again.
Yeah, definitely. Stacy?
That's what she said. That's all I'm going to say.
Man. Chad?
Thanks for having us. I was talking to Matt yesterday. This is my
Yeah, you guys were. That's right. You guys were
Yeah,
hanging
'cause
out
they were
together.
hanging
Hey,
out.
listen,
Yeah.
if you would have said, hey, I'm off
BFFs.
work. If you would have said, hey, I'm off work, let me get real. If you would have said, "Hey,
Yes.
I'm off work,"
I was busy doing podcast stuff, man. I was off work, but I was busy.
no.
He was busy.
You could have texted me and said, "Hey, I'm off work. Let me do some.
just kidding.
Let me work for free." Matt worked for free.
There you go.
No, for real. I had a great time tonight. I've needed this. Matt commented on my Instagram page the other day. Like, sounds like you're ready for the.
Oh,
No, it sounds like you're ready for this. Rough week last week. Rough start to the week. I look forward to this every month. So, yeah.
the verbal abuse.
I do. Hey, it's fun. It
is a good time.
It is my therapy. I would say so. Wherever you are, whatever time of day it is, morning, noon, or night. I want to thank you guys for listening to Matt, Philip, Stacy, Marcus, and I. Have fun. Mark, I hate that you aren't feeling well, and that it's been a rough night for you and been a rough few weeks.
Fighting
but
Cock will really hit that mouth.
but no, this has been like the best night I've had, and since the last one. No,
Awesome.
it's been a long time. So yeah, I've had fun. Enjoy you guys. It's been,
Quit being so sentimental.
seriously, man.
Pass it off to somebody
The hell, I'm
else.
trying to get drunk here. Can you,
Yeah.
No, I got whiskey for that.
man?
No, Philip, glad you're back. Stacy looked ugly over there. So yeah,
Yeah, he did not like looking across.
I had to see her.
Yeah.
It takes a strong man to hold the seat.
Yeah.
True
all right.
American hero.
Marcus, let's close it out for the night.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you. I have to thank you guys for being here, Phil. Glad you're back. Glad to have you
Yeah,
here. Thank
thank
you all for
y'all.
being here. Thanks for bringing your pours. All right. Thanks for bringing the Fighting Cock.
See, it helped.
I was debating. I didn't know for sure.
Hey, you're welcome for the bush light.
And thank you for the hell with your mountains. Show me your bush light. So, thank you very much. I appreciate you bringing that. It's fun. Now I have a good time.
Latte.
Hey, do
Bush
we?
latte.
Yeah, do we have an HR department yet?
Not yet. I'm not gonna do one either. So.
Tracy says she can't afford that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Tracy, I'll get with you after.
The PR firm said nope, you can't do that. So, but no, this it obviously makes me, like you said. I mean, you have a bad day, bad couple of weeks, and it's like it's fun. It's something to look forward to. We have a good time doing this, so I appreciate you guys being
Matt,
here,
I'm
hanging
so
out.
sorry that you don't get to
For sure.
release this.
But I guess I should say we are the Bourbon Life Podcast presented by Liquor Barn.
Thanks, Liquor Barn.
And buy our shit on Teespring.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we got new T-shirts and stuff.
right.
Thanks to Philip and his good designs there. So
oh, it's your designs? Now that I know it's yours, I'm buying it.
yeah, man. Philip's the man with the merch. So
For
we're
the
gonna.
love of God, quit leaving reviews for big text.
Oh God!
Review us, damn it.
If you're going to
Even if it's
talk
1
about
star.
Mr. Big Tex, we need to talk about some old tub.
And talk about big flagpoles.
But I will say, kudos to Mike and the
Congrats,
and the,
Mike.
the whiskey trip. He's doing some
Congrats.
great programs, great shows. Got some great guests. So happy for him. Happy that he's back on the podcast thing under our umbrella. So check him out at the whiskey trip. Of course, we are the Bourbon Life Podcast, and we appreciate you guys listening. Like Matt says, whatever time of day it is, morning, noon, or night, whenever you get your Bourbon Life fix, or as Chad always says, I should say. We appreciate you tuning in, and we appreciate all of our sponsors, of course, everything they do for us. Couldn't do the show without them. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at the Bourbon Life, or join our private Facebook group at the Bourbon Lifers. If you'd like to send us an email, you can do that at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And like Matt said, please leave us a review.
Absolutely. If you hate our banter, please let us know.
Yeah, on your favorite podcasting platform. And I should say, also check out our YouTube and subscribe to the channel. I don't say that ever.
That's right.
but-
That way you don't just have to hear us describing things.
That's right. You can actually see
And
how.
you can actually
and-
see our fresh
You can,
haircuts.
yeah. It's like the
And I
fresh.
And the
always come with a new
Shakira
shirt.
shirt.
Yeah,
every
exactly
every
right.
month I come
Philip
with a new
has
shirt.
nice
Yeah.
There will be content here soon. There will be content.
There will be content. We're going to be working on that, which is true. That's right. So subscribe to YouTube now, early, so you can
While
get
the
in
getting's
and
good.
enjoy
Get
all
in
the
while the
goodness.
getting's
So,
good.
but with that said, I'm going to wrap it up. Set us with our tagline, which is, may your glasses always be full. May you keep on living the bourbon life.
These hips don't lie.
Cue the violin.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. Our mission at the Bourbon Life is simple: to share our passion for all things bourbon with you every week. And we'd really love to hear your thoughts on how we're doing. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at The Bourbon Life. You can also contact us by email at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. And you can always find us on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a moment, we'd love it if you would rate us and give us a review. So until next week, we hope your glass is always full and that you keep on living the bourbon life.